Hello, Dr. Gupta. I take it my connection was lost. I apologize. Um, Let me see if I can make it any better. Uh, you wrote a piece to Tony Robbins in much earlier days, and I'm wondering if you can say that your fervor for the truth has been honed. Is it by you, or do you have a North Star that you look to when you're what why Tony Robbins then, and why just yourself now?
Well, I have no idea. I wrote a lot of things early on.
What has changed?
Nothing is. I've wrote a lot of things early on. A lot of things are marketing related early on, and whenever you're doing something, and so I don't. It's not a matter of change. It's.
Did you hear my question? I'm sorry, I can't tell whether the X spaces is rejecting me or what's going on here.
The North Star is the truth.
I keep finding myself returning to the question of exposure. It's very clear that the nature of what one is exposed to quality and substance, their awareness and sensitivity, any given area. One may be faced with a depth of truth
everything
that
is
you just
breaking
don't
up when you're
anywhere else.
Your connection is breaking up.
Sorry. Let me see. Is that any better? Otherwise, I can.
Go ahead.
So I in thinking about this question, there's those who are, come across something or someone in the world that reveals to them something much deeper. But then there are those far exceed the heights of what any other human has touched. And that's clearly not through any external exposure or inspiration, but it's due to some force within them that I guess isn't themselves. It's something that they're kind of carried by. And I guess in my own life, I've seen that all the things external that I've been exposed to, apart from a few individuals or pieces of literature, have clearly been of a detriment and a distraction, and who knows how many years that's cost. And I guess my question is around what is that force within an individual that propels them to something that is otherwise unseen and unknown. And I guess in just saying this, what comes up is something that you wrote, a line, saying something around that, in every person there is a longing in their heart that has always been there, and that is their greatest obstacle. And I guess I feel this burning urgency that this thing, I guess the thing that has brought clarity and a modicum of truth in my life has been completely despite and regardless of all my attempts to arrange, the right exposure or to move things in the right direction. And I know that thing is there, and it's very clear that there's nothing to be done with it, but I still feel that tension of something is still unseen, and I guess I'm just holding that tension, and would just be curious to hear what arises in you from that.
So why did you begin with exposure? How did that relate to what you said later?
because when I think of exposure, there's all these things that I, on a superficial level, have naturally just gravitated away from because I saw that they brought no substance to my own perception or what I was cultivating with my own attention. But I guess in my personal experience, there have been certain things that have constantly arisen in my life within me that have struck me like a sort of knife to the heart that I can't really explain. And I guess I guess the exposures, the things that have happened to me that have actually oriented my life, in my experience, in a direction of truth have been things that I didn't compel or bring about. And at the same time, I can see there's a level to which I have kind of allowed those things to pass.
So where do you live?
I live in England.
And what do you do?
I'm setting up research organizations, but I also write.
Research organizations for what?
For physical technology and computing technology.
Okay, so you have demonstrated among an insight that is well beyond probably any other question I've ever been asked. You are speaking from an internal and instinctual place, and that it is correct that there is a force and that force which produces that longing, or the force which maybe even is the longing, which invests, in this case, truth to come into a person, which nobody else basically knows. And that, coupled with the statement about there are some in history who have, discovered things or have, whatever your statement was, that, reached places that no one else did. And then that, coupled with your statement that the things that have guided you are things that you never tried to intentionally do, and that the things that you tried to intentionally do were the things that always fell flat on their face. See, those are very insightful comments. And the force that invests a human being with truth, on the one hand, there is an equally powerful force which invests a human being with desire to know it. And those are kind of the perfect storm I was talking about earlier. Like, there has to be both. And
yes.
So, where that comes from, who knows? I don't know. But so the things that, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like a talent in some ways, right? Like, if someone has a talent for, soccer or something, right? And they have, a very rare talent, like they didn't create the talent. Like they weren't the ones who placed the talent there inside themselves. They were just born with that talent. Or maybe they got the talent later in life or something else, or whatever it was. The point is, that wasn't manufactured. Otherwise, everybody would manufacture it, right? So there is absolutely 100% that the things that are truly the things the things that are truly otherworldly within a human being when he reaches a place inside himself, whether it is knowing the truth or whether it is becoming, in like unlike anyone else ever existed in a particular sport or whatever it is, those things are not like some result of practice and hard work and reading a lot, right? That doesn't mean that those things, like there wasn't any effort placed by the individual. It doesn't mean that. But in this particular case, outside of the domain of, physical skill in sports and business and whatever it may be, it actually is much closer to not meaning that. It actually it is much closer to no practice. It's more of a gift. And so the people who reach head and shoulders above others in human civilization, when it comes to this domain, and I'm not going to call it spirituality because it's not, but it's in this non-materialistic, skill-based, physical domain of, finding enlightenment, realization, truth, having knowledge that no one else has, gleaning insights that no one. That is largely by way of communion with the divine. It comes from somewhere else. And I think I made a statement a long time ago in some podcast or something that, so I don't even remember the exact statement, but it was something along the lines of, I don't create the truth. I just know the way to the well. And well, what is it that allowed me to know the way to the well? I don't know. So if somebody asks, if I look at a person and if I sit in front of a person, and usually if I even hear a person on this kind of medium, I usually can like intentionally like go into their being in a way and, and sense things about them, right? That's not a practice. That's not some stupid idiotic meditation that I did. I mean, that's insulting, right? That's like saying someone, that's like saying someone can, become the greatest in history because of diet and exercise. I mean, well, everyone's diet and exercise. So, there's got to be something more than that. So things just come. And the more otherworldly and the higher sort of place that you get, or more the depth of information, knowledge, truth that invests in you, the less it comes from your efforts and the more it comes from some other place. Now, everyone misunderstands everything that I say, so let me just qualify that for a second. It doesn't come for no reason. And the reason isn't because, you're special or whatever it is. The reason is because a desire is there. And where there's an intense and desire and sincerity and longing and genuine and oceanic desire to know, and that usually is correlated with receiving a gift. And just it doesn't mean that it will, but it's a gift. And so like I won't take credit for it because I didn't put it there, so I don't deserve any credit for it. In the same way that you're talking about. So you're absolutely correct. Number one is a force inside, and where that comes from, no one knows. And number two, the insights that arise with if they happen to be insights and knowledge and truths that others in civilization don't really know, it wasn't by way of effort. That was by way of the ether or some unspeakable, unknowable place, the same place that provides talent, whatever that place is, right? No one knows that. You could call it God or universe or whatever you want. I mean, there's no word for the exact pinpoint. place of source. But that's my response to your question. It absolutely, it's a gift, and different humans have different gifts, and those are usually your stepping stone to get what you want in your life.
Yes. Well, I'll just say that whatever this force is, it's been a persistent thread through my life, and I resisted it most of my life because it terrified me. But I got to a point where it sort of burst through a threshold where I could meet it, even though there was a level of fear there, because it asks everything of me. And so, yeah, I certainly don't have the feeling that there's anything to do with it. It's more that, I guess, yeah, I can see the tension of the fact that not everything has been given. And that's not to say, yeah, I don't know what to say, because I know there's nothing to be done, but it's, yeah, I guess it just is. Yeah.
Insightful comments.